Continuing from the last episode, I had just broken up with the campus belle when unexpectedly her mom, Julie, started hassling me. I figured she was out for revenge on behalf of her daughter, but surprise, instead, she dragged me straight to the registry office and we got hitched. That same night, I found myself officially becoming the stepdad of the campus belle. What's more shocking, that night was Julie's first time. Turns out, the campus belle was just her adopted daughter. Now, here I am, staring at the aloof ex-girlfriend of the campus belle. With a smirk I say to her, "Come on, sweetie, call me daddy." Continuing from the previous part. So, picking up from where I left off, after Julie and I left the car dealership, we headed to the mall. This mall was partly owned by Julie. In fact, she was the majority shareholder. The moment Julie stepped into the mall, every guy's head turned. You could practically hear the sound of women around slapping their men for staring. Seeing this scene, I felt pretty pleased with myself. Then, this enthusiastic store assistant pipes up, "Madam, welcome. Come right in. We've got tons of new arrivals in store." Julie replies, "Today's not about me shopping for clothes. It's for my husband here." At the mention of husband, the store assistant's jaw nearly hits the floor. Then she looks at me, probably thinking, "This guy's so young. Yet he's achieved something most people his age only dream of." So jealous. In no time, Julie picks out a bunch of clothes for me to try on. "Sweetie, why don't you try these on first?" she says. I nod and head into the fitting room. When I come out, not just Julie, but every woman in the store is checking me out. It's like I'm some kind of magnet. Julie licks her lips, then turns to the store assistant and says, "Pack them all up, put them in my car." As we step out of the store, Julie can feel the stares intensifying. "Darling, I'm feeling a little unhappy right now," she says. I look at Julie with confusion and ask, "What's wrong?" "Jealous," Julie says, "because you're too charming. I'm afraid one day you won't want me anymore." Turning around, I grab Julie's hand and say, "You're being silly. How could you even think that? Meeting you is my luck. Your presence makes my ordinary life full of sunshine. I could never not want you." Julie looks up, seeing the tears glistening in my eyes, and at that moment, she knows she's worth it. "Honey, I love you," she says. Julie immediately rushes into my arms. But just when everything seemed perfect, someone had to come and ruin the moment. A man in a suit stands nearby, mocking, "Julie, is this your new young boyfriend?" Julie's eyes show a hint of disgust. Curiously, I ask Julie, "Who's this guy?" Julie replies, "He's Scott, the heir to the S Corporation. He used to pursue me, so you can say he's one of my admirers." Scott, seeing that his previous remarks didn't catch Julie's attention, continues, "You bitch, I pursued you for so long, and you suddenly marry this guy. He's young and virile, able to satisfy you. Huh?" Hearing this, Julie's face darkens. She warns him, "Scott, watch your language." But Scott turns to me, sneering, "Kid, still happy about hooking up with a rich woman? When you're older, she'll just toss you aside." Scott's words are harsh, and soon, people start gathering to watch the drama unfold. Julie trembles with anger. Stepping forward, I shield Julie behind me and look at Scott, then point to his crotch, saying, "You, at such a young age, already suffering from premature ejaculation and even some erectile dysfunction. Oh, you have no idea how you got those." This statement shocks the onlookers, and Scott's face turns embarrassed. He's been experiencing those symptoms lately, even after consulting many doctors, who said it's incurable. Furious, Scott retorts, "Kid, what nonsense are you spouting? You're the one with premature ejaculation." I mock, "Whether you have it or not, you know best." Scott, angry, says, "Kid, I'm going to teach you a lesson today." With that, he gestures and a few bodyguards behind him start walking towards me. Seeing these burly men approaching, Julie warns urgently, "What are you doing? I warn you. Think about the consequences of laying a hand on us." Scott's face darkens. After all, he knows Julie's power. The S Corporation can't withstand her revenge. After a moment's thought, he says, "If anything happens, it's on me. Teach this kid a lesson." I give Julie a reassuring look, saying, "It's okay. Watch your husband perform. I'm quite skilled." Julie looks worried but nods, stepping aside, ready to intervene if needed. And as I face the thugs around me, a faint smile appears on my face. I gesture with my index finger, scanning the crowd, and say, "Come on, don't keep my wife waiting." Scott, still seeing someone unafraid of him for the first time, angrily says, "Don't be afraid. As long as nobody dies, even if they're crippled, it's no big deal." Hearing Scott's words, the thugs all show fierce expressions. Then, someone roars and throws a punch at me. I simply duck and use a finger to hit a pressure point on the attacker's body. In an instant, his face turns pale. He trembles all over, even starts foaming at the mouth nervously. "What did you do?" I glance at the guy lying on the ground and shrug. Next moment, I'm in front of another guy, punching him in the face. He flies several meters and crashes heavily to the ground. Julie, standing aside, is wide-eyed. She always thought I was just an ordinary college student. She never expected I could fight like this. The thugs across from me are also starting to fear me. They want to run, but I keep knocking them down one after another. After dealing with them, my gaze falls on Scott. Meeting my eyes, Scott swallows nervously. "Kevin, let me remind you, don't mess around. We're in a rule of law society." I smirk. "Really? Is it lawful to gather a group to fight here?" With that, I raise my foot and kick Scott several meters away. Turning to Julie, I say, "Sweetheart, the pests are dealt with. Let's go." Julie smiles faintly, linking her arm with mine, and we leave together. Watching them leave, Scott finally gets up from the ground, his face twisted with anger. At this moment, someone suddenly appears in front of Scott and slaps him hard across the face. Scott looks at the man and says, "Big bro, why did you hit me?" "That guy named Kevin." Before Scott can finish, the man slaps him again, saying, "Every day. All you know is causing trouble for me." This man is Steven, Scott's brother, and the current chairman of the S Corporation. He's staring at his brother with anger and says, "Do you know who he is?" Scott, feeling wronged, says, "Kevin, he's just a college student, isn't he? What's the big deal? Does he have some other identity?" Steven sighs. He's also the largest shareholder of Peach Group, owning 50.5% of the shares. As soon as these words come out, Scott collapses to the ground, tears streaming down his cheeks. Peach Group is an existence they can only look up to. Meanwhile, Julie and I continue strolling through the mall. Julie asks, "Honey, how are you so amazing?" Curious, she looks at me, thinking of the cool fighting scene earlier. Her heart pounding with excitement, I scratch my head, smiling. Maybe I'm not that strong. They're just too weak. Although Julie is the closest person to me now, I still don't want to easily reveal all my strength. Being a kept man is my goal. Continuing, Julie takes me to the rooftop restaurant. Curiously, I ask, "Darling, as the largest shareholder here, do you own many of the shops too?" Julie smiles faintly and says, "I own 60% of the restaurants on this floor." Hearing this, I can't help but clap my hands. My rich wife really is amazing. We arrive at a more private upscale restaurant. After ordering, Julie suddenly looks at me with a dreamy expression and says, "There are no cameras here, so anything you want to do is fine." I nearly choke on my water. "Sweetheart, was this restaurant specifically prepared for such things?" I look around and have to admit, the soundproofing here is really top-notch. Julie doesn't say anything. She looks a bit pouty that I shyly smile. "Got it, darling." As I say this, I approach Julie and wrap my arms around her. Julie then climbs onto my lap. Suddenly, the Live Off a Woman system appears, detecting that the host is enjoying intense affection and grants the host God-level medical skills and God-level driving skills. After dinner, we both have a bit of a blush on our faces, and Julie's clothes are a bit disheveled. After a while, Julie takes out her phone and says, "The transfer of the car is done. Let's go pick it up now." Hearing this, my eyes light up. Back at the dealership, Gloria looks at us and raises an eyebrow. "In just this short time, did you two manage to?" Seeing through us, Julie's face flushes with embarrassment, but she doesn't deny it. Gloria chuckles and shakes her head. "You two are quite bold. I even heard about the fight in the mall. Messing with the Scott family?" Julie retorts. "If they want to deal with me, they should first see what they're capable of." Gloria doesn't say more, handing over a list, then gesturing to the cars outside. Gloria sighs, "You're taking away so many cars. I won't have many left." Julie smiles and signs the list. Gloria continues, "You two take 2 cars, and I'll arrange for the rest to be sent back to you." Julie smiles and links arms with me, saying, "I want to ride with my husband in 1 car." At this point, Gloria's head is filled with black lines. She doesn't want to deal with these 2 anymore. She waves her hand, saying, "Hurry up and leave. Seeing you 2 makes my blood pressure rise." Julie bursts into laughter happily. Then Julie and I get into a convertible Lamborghini. At this moment, someone discontentedly says, "Why do they get to test drive? Why do we have to wait in line?" Gloria turns around and says, "Because they've bought this car. Not just this one. They've bought all the cars in the showroom." The person is shocked. Many people take out their phones and capture our images. After all, casually spending tens of millions to buy cars isn't something ordinary people can do. It's definitely the act of someone wealthy or powerful. I in the car. I think about the God-level driving skills the system just rewarded me. I smile slightly, step on the gas, and manipulate the steering wheel. The car accelerates dramatically, taking an exaggerated arc as it speeds away. Onlookers envy us, saying, "This is so cool. Who would have thought? This guy is rich, handsome, and has such good driving skills. Which girl wouldn't like him?" In no time, I'm driving a supercar with Julie's video, uploaded to YouTube, and it even trends on Google search. In a university dorm room, Julie's daughter, Lily, the campus belle, has just finished her course design and sees this video. When she sees the woman in the video, Lily's mouth drops open in astonishment. "Oh my God, isn't this my mom? My mom is trending? And is this my stepfather?" She keeps zooming in on the screen, trying to see the person sitting in the driver's seat, but due to the shooting angle, even zoomed in, it's not clear. For some reason, Lily feels a bit familiar with the man. Meanwhile, Julie, sitting in the sports car, is surprised. She didn't expect my driving skills to be this good. When the car stops at the doorstep, she still feels a bit lingering. I smile and say, "Darling, when we have time later, I'll take you for a proper drive." As soon as we enter the villa, we collapse onto the sofa. Julie cuddles into my arms, and I smirk. "Darling, are you thinking about something more exciting again?" Julie buries her head in my chest and falls asleep not long after. After all that happened today, she's really exhausted. Seeing Julie sleeping peacefully, a small smile of happiness appears on my face. I've dreamt of this scene many times before, and now it's finally real. I have to admit, even though Julie is already 36 years old this year, she still looks incredibly beautiful, without a single wrinkle on her face. The next morning, as I walk out of the room after waking up, I see a scene that makes my blood boil. Julie, dressed in a very cool and sexy outfit, is making breakfast in the kitchen. When she sees me, a smile appears on Julie's face, and she says, "Darling, come and eat quickly." I glance at the table. It seems Julie is cooking, but she doesn't have much talent in this area. Julie smiles and says, "Come on, try it." Seeing Julie's excited look, I smile and then pick up a piece of burnt toast and eat it, showing a satisfied expression and praise, "My wife's cooking is really good." Julie is delighted and says, "Then I'll make a few more dishes." As soon as I hear this, I quickly grab Julie's hand and say, "How can I let you cook? I should be the one cooking for you." In no time, I come out with a tray of food and say, "I'll eat what you cooked, and you eat what I cooked. Let's share." I say this and take a big bite of the oatmeal porridge Julie made. I didn't expect someone to make oatmeal porridge taste so bad, but I still smile and swallow it. Julie happily picks up a piece of bread she just baked and takes a bite. A few seconds later, she quietly throws away the bread she made into the trash, saying, "It seems I'm not cut out for cooking." I console her, "I'll cook from now on, and you just need to be beautiful." Julie's smile becomes even brighter. At this moment, the voice of my "live off a woman" system rings again, detecting that my beloved is emotionally moved by me and rewards me with 3 days of future vision. I pause, wondering if it's some kind of ability to see the future. After finishing the meal, I take Julie to the game room inside the villa and say, "Darling, you asked me before what I like to do in college, right? Well, I loved playing League of Legends." I open the game. Julie says, Wow, I've never played this before. Is it difficult? I smile and say, I can teach you. For Julie, as long as she's with me, she'll be happy no matter what we do. However, I have to admit, Julie does have a talent for gaming. Regardless of which hero she plays, as long as she watches a master's operation once and then plays it herself, she can execute very smooth moves. After playing for a while, I'm also surprised by my current skills. It seems like this game has become a lot simpler. It seems like it's all thanks to the abilities the system has given me. At that moment, I failed to notice something. My phone, tossed aside, suddenly lit up with an unfamiliar caller, but with my headphones on, I didn't hear it. Meanwhile, outside the villa gate, Scott anxiously said to Steven, "Big bro, why isn't Kevin picking up the phone?" Steven, annoyed, retorted, "Why wouldn't he? Probably doesn't want to talk to you." Scott panicked. If Kevin is really mad and does something to S-Corp, we're all screwed. After a moment of thought, Steven replied, "If that's the case, I'll have to come up with a plan." Scott looked puzzled. Our villa had tight security measures. A security guard patrolling noticed a person kneeling in front of a villa and asked, "Hey, what are you doing?" It was Scott, shirtless with a few gold bars strapped to his back, kneeling at the villa entrance. The guard warned, "I'm telling you, don't cause trouble or I'll kick you out." Scott remained silent, partly because of the scorching weather, rendering him speechless, and partly because his actions were embarrassing. Meanwhile, Steven handed $100 to the guard, saying, "He's my brother, made a mistake, wants to apologize." Glancing at the money, the guard remarked, "Just one bill? We've got so many brothers. How's this gonna work?" Without hesitation, Steven pulled out a stack of cash from his wallet. Inside the villa, Julie and I had been playing games all day. Julie exclaimed, "These games are so much fun. No wonder you love them." I replied, "These games have been with me for 4 years. When my roommates went home for the holidays, I was left alone in the dorm, so I played these games." The atmosphere suddenly became heavy as we touched on this topic. Julie realized her mistake and vowed to comfort me. I hugged Julie, saying, "Darling, I'm a bit hungry. Let's go grab something to eat." Julie nodded. As we drove out, we spotted someone kneeling at the gate. I wondered, why is the guard letting a beggar stay here? Steven, seeing our car, hurried over, abandoning his watermelon. "Hey there, Kevin," he exclaimed. "I'm Steven. My brother Scott offended you at the mall yesterday. Today, we've come to apologize." I responded calmly, "Now that you mention it, I do recall yesterday's incident, but I don't care anymore. No need to say more." Steven quickly intervened. "No, we messed up. We've prepared a small gift as compensation for you and Julie." He then took out an exquisite gift box and placed it in the car. Ignoring him, I continued, "I've already forgotten about that incident, but I'm curious, who instigated him against me?" Steven admitted, "It was actually Johnson, the heir of J Corporation. We were just being foolish." I responded, "All right, I understand, but you should take the gift back. We don't need it." Upon hearing this, Steven looked embarrassed. Then, he kicked Scott and said, "He doesn't plan to forgive you. Today, you'll kneel here until Kevin forgives you." I hurriedly intervened, "Don't beat people to death in front of my house. I still need to live here." Hearing my plea, Steven stopped, then looked at me ingratiatingly. "Kevin, please accept our gift and forgive us." I glanced at Steven helplessly and said, "Fine, I'll take the gift, but you can't keep hitting people. And by the way, what I said about your brother having premature ejaculation and impotence issues wasn't a lie." With that, Julie and I ignored Steven and drove away. Scott asked, "Big bro, did Kevin forgive me?" Steven replied, "This matter is definitely not that simple." Then, Steven focused on Scott's legs. Feeling uneasy under Steven's gaze, Scott pleaded, "Big bro, what are you going to do? I'm your own brother. Don't hit me anymore." But no matter how Scott pleaded, it couldn't stop Steven's actions. Julie and I arrived at a fancy restaurant. Julie said, "You can order whatever you want. Today, it's my treat." I raised an eyebrow and said, "What if I want to have my wife?" Julie chuckled, "You want me? Well, you'll have to eat first to have the energy." With Julie's teasing, I felt great and just wanted to finish dinner and go home. Back home, Julie suddenly suggested, "Darling, how about we sleep in the yard tonight?" I was taken aback, but understood Julie's implication. "You naughty thing, didn't expect you to like playing this." Julie blushed and buried her head in my chest. "I just want to experience some excitement with you." But in the yard, any slightly louder noise would be heard by others. Seeing Julie endure, I felt sorry for her and soon brought her back into the house. After another intimate moment together, we fell asleep. When we woke up, it was already 8 a.m. the next day. After a simple breakfast, we started another day of gaming. Just as we began playing, Julie's phone rang. After answering it, she wore a serious expression and then said, "All right, I'll head over now." After hanging up, Julie looked apologetic as she turned to me and said, "Sorry, dear, there's a sudden meeting at work. We have a collaboration with a corporation this time." I smiled and replied, "No problem at all. Business comes first, and seeing my wife being so outstanding makes me happy. Go focus on your work. I've got your back." Julie's face lit up again. "Thank you, dear. I'll call the driver to pick me up." I said, "No need for that trouble. I'll drive you." Julie asked, "Honey, aren't you worried about being seen by the public?" I was puzzled. Why should I be afraid of being seen? Julie explained, "I mean, aren't you worried about being called a kept man?" I laughed. Let them joke. If having a wife turns me into a kept man, they can only dream about it. Then, we drove towards the company. Julie's office was located on the busiest street, with a magnificent 50-story building. I couldn't help but be amazed. "Is this all your achievement, dear? You're amazing." Julie happily replied, "Of course. This is the career I've built for us." As we arrived at the company's entrance, Julie smiled and said, "Let's go, my husband. I'll show you around my company." The nearby security guard, hearing Julie call me her husband, looked as surprised as if he could fit an egg in his mouth. This news quickly spread through WhatsApp, and soon the entire company's employees knew. Waves of employees gathered, discussing, "Does the chairwoman have a husband? Wasn't she always single? Who's the lucky guy? He doesn't need to work for the rest of his life." As Julie and I entered the office area of the building, the entire place fell silent, with everyone gaping. Julie didn't say much and simply held my hand as we left. Once we were gone, the office erupted in noise. "The chairwoman's husband is so handsome. He's overly handsome, isn't he? I want money too. I want a boyfriend like him, who's as clingy as a puppy." Soon, we arrived at Julie's office. Seeing her impressive workspace, I couldn't resist sitting in her chair. Julie chuckled, "You're the first one bold enough to sit there." Soon, a woman entered and said, "Chair, the meeting will start in 10 minutes. Should we get ready?" Julie nodded and introduced, "This is my husband, Kevin, and this is my secretary, Nancy." I smiled at Nancy and then focused my attention back on Julie's computer. Realizing I was Julie's husband, Nancy was also surprised. In her impression, Julie was the kind of superwoman who wouldn't get married. Seeing Nancy's disbelief, Julie couldn't help but feel pleased and said, "Let's go now, Nancy. Take my husband for a tour of our company later." Nancy nodded and followed Julie out of the office. After they left, I leaned back in the chair and couldn't help but yawn, and then the system sound chimed again. "Congratulations, host. A fund interest of 5 million yuan has been credited. Due to the total fund exceeding 50 million yuan, the system has automatically upgraded and gifted the host with the formula for women's underwear structure." I was momentarily stunned. The system was really good to me. This reminded me that the system also gave me 3 days of future sight. So, I shouted, "Activate the future sight for the next 3 days. I want to see what major events will happen." Activating the future sight for the next 3 days in the host city. In the next second, I saw major events that might happen in the East China Sea in the next 3 days. The chairman of B Corporation drove recklessly, injuring a pedestrian and paying 2 million in compensation. Seeing this, I nearly choked on my saliva. Indeed, safety first while driving, or you might lose 2 million just like that. I continued to scroll down. There were signs of abandonment in the Sea International real estate project, leading to loss of life. I'd heard of Sea International before. It was a recently popular real estate project. If the owners knew it might be abandoned, That would be interesting. The first two messages didn't concern me much, but the third message shocked me. The new product jointly developed by D Corporation and a corporation was exposed to have quality issues, facing huge compensation payments. D Corporation would also have to pay billions in breach of contract penalties. Seeing this message, I was instantly shocked. D Corporation was Julie's blood, and the huge compensation. How much money would that be? I suddenly remembered that Nancy had just mentioned going to a meeting with a corporation. Was it happening right now? I immediately stood up, ready to go to the conference room. Just as Nancy returned from outside, I quickly said, "Where's the conference room? Take me there quickly. I have something important to discuss with my wife." In the conference room, Julie was negotiating with representatives from a corporation. A man in his 30s, named Eddie, looked puzzled as he gazed at Julie. He was the one who connected a corporation and D Corporation. He said, "Chairwoman, I think a corporation's terms are already quite good. What are you hesitating about?" Julie was torn. D Corporation hadn't had any breakthroughs for too long, and this collaboration was an opportunity. But the negotiation terms weren't very favorable for the company. After much contemplation, she reluctantly said, "If it really can't be helped." Just then, I pushed open the door to the conference room and shouted loudly, "If it really can't be helped, then give up this collaboration." The sudden appearance of my voice stunned everyone, and seeing a stranger, they were all puzzled. I looked solemnly at Julie and said, "There are quality issues with this batch of products. A corporation can't be trusted." Before Julie could respond, Eddie stood up and said, "Who are you? How did you get in here? Where are the security guards? Get this guy out of here." Ignoring his protests, I simply gazed quietly at Julie, as if asking, "Do you trust me?" Finally, Julie nodded and said, "Darling, I trust you. Stop the collaboration with a corporation immediately." At this, the room fell silent. Everyone was shocked by Julie's decision and also by her endearment towards me. Seeing the stunned silence, Julie smiled slightly and then turned to the representatives from a corporation. "Sorry, but D Corporation won't be collaborating with your company anymore." After the representatives from a corporation left with sour faces, Julie addressed the remaining people in the conference room. "I know you're all puzzled, but I trust my instincts. We'll find a new partner for cooperation." Seeing everyone's troubled expressions, I couldn't help but ask, "Why are you all in such a bind? Isn't developing products on your own a viable option?" Julie sighed helplessly. "The company lacks good formulas and technical personnel, so the products we develop always have flaws, and the market response isn't great." A smile crept onto my face. "What if I could provide you with technology for women's underwear construction? Would that ease your immediate concerns?" Upon hearing this, everyone looked at me with curiosity, especially Julie, whose eyes lit up. "Definitely. What we lack most now is technology." Then, I produced a document from seemingly nowhere, and Julie immediately arranged for technicians to test it. Shortly after, the technical supervisor's excited voice came through the phone. Instantly, everyone in the conference room showed signs of relief and joy. Back in Julie's office, as soon as we entered, Julie hugged me and gave me a kiss, saying, "Darling, you're amazing. You're my lucky charm. You've solved so many problems for me just by being here." I smiled and replied, "Taking care of my wife's worries, isn't that what I should do?" Julie smirked mischievously. "Then tonight, I'll reward you. I'll take good care of you." Raising an eyebrow, I asked, "And how do you plan to take care of me?" Julie leaned in close to my ear and whispered softly, "I bought some Japanese-style schoolgirl outfits and black stockings, made of very thin material. Hee hee." Hearing this, I almost couldn't help but do something right there in the office, but I resisted. After all, I could do whatever I wanted at home later. That night, Julie, rocking a JK and black stockings, and I stayed up all night discussing the origins of humanity. A few days later, early in the morning when it was just getting light, Julie was awakened by the sound of her phone. Later, she went out. With nothing else to do, I finished my meal and started playing games. Around noon, the phone suddenly rang. It was Julie calling, and I immediately answered. Excitedly, Julie's voice came through the phone. "Darling, you're amazing. The lingerie craftsmanship you provided has resulted in perfect lingerie. Even during the trial period, Many people have chosen to pre-order. Hearing this, a smile spread across my face. I hadn't expected the system's offerings to be so effective. I genuinely praised the system in my mind. With a smirk, I replied to Julie over the phone, "It's the least I could do. It's my honor to ease my wife's burden." On the other end of the line, Julie's mood was clearly very good. She said, "Darling, tonight I'm going to reward you properly." Hearing these familiar words again, I raised a curious eyebrow and asked, "How are you going to reward me?" Julie said, "I bought some sexy lingerie today. It's in the bedside cabinet. Do you want to take a look?" I chuckled and said, "I'll keep the mystery alive." Late at night, in the villa next door, a middle-aged woman kicked the man beside her and said, "Listen to the neighbor. Look at yourself. You're such a useless man." The man said, "If I were 10 years younger, I'd definitely be more impressive than him." The woman scorned, "Did I not know you when you were younger? What's the difference now?" However, at that moment, neither I nor Julie had any idea that we had already affected the harmony of the neighboring family. Then, the moment I feared most arrived. My school's beauty ex-girlfriend Lily was coming back. Despite having rehearsed many times in my mind, I still wasn't prepared to face Lily. "What's wrong?" Julie teased, seeing how nervous I was. "Hey, it's the first time I've seen this expression on your face. What are you afraid of, little buddy?" I sighed helplessly, feeling a bitter smile forming. There were some things between Lily and me. It's just that the outcome wasn't very perfect. This piqued Julie's curiosity, as she already knew about my acquaintance with Lily. She hadn't expected there was still something she didn't know. After a moment's thought, I shook my head with a smile and said, "Forget it. It's nothing. It's just how things are." Seeing that I didn't want to talk about it, Julie didn't press further. She wasn't the type to pry. The next morning, I drove to the airport, preparing to pick up Lily. Throughout the journey, I was unsure of my feelings. Remembering how Lily looked in her white dress back then still deeply moved me. If that incident hadn't happened, maybe we would still be together. Back to the present, I hadn't ended up with her, but rather with her mother. If Lily found out about this, would she want to kill me? Soon, I arrived at the airport. Among the crowd, a figure in white caught my eye. Lily still loved wearing white dresses. As she walked through the crowd, all eyes were on her. After she came out, many people wanted to offer her a ride. A woman like her, even if someone offered to drive her home for free, it would be worth it. A man approached Lily, saying, "Beauty, are you alone? Where do you live? Let me take you home." As he spoke, he fiddled with his BMW car keys. Lily didn't say anything, just turned her head away. The man persisted, "How about we go grab a coffee?" Just as Lily was thinking about how to refuse and worried the man would continue bothering her, she suddenly saw me. She was surprised. "Kevin, what are you doing here?" But then her eyes lit up and she quickly walked over to me, holding my arm. "Darling, why did you just arrive?" I was momentarily stunned, then understood what was happening. I gently touched Lily's head, but this feeling made me feel a bit melancholic. It was the same feeling from before, suddenly making me develop strong feelings for Lily again, even though I couldn't go back to that time. Seeing my appearance, the man who had approached Lily earlier had a strange tone. "Dude, you're lucky. You found such a beautiful girlfriend." I didn't say anything, intending to take Lily away. However, the man still persisted. "Girl, let me remind you, find a boyfriend who is successful in his career. Don't just go for looks and waste your youth." Listening to this, I stopped in my tracks and then turned to look at the man. "You're absolutely right. What's the name of the company you work for again?" "Oh, it's a real estate group, right?" As soon as I mentioned my industry, the man's face showed confidence. I smirked and dialed a number on my phone. "Hello, there's a company called a real estate group. Let's withdraw all our investments." The man thought I was talking nonsense, looking disdainful. Just as he was about to retort, his phone rang. The voice on the other end said, "Manager, it's bad news. Peach Group has withdrawn all their investments. What should we do?" As soon as this was said, the man was stunned, sitting down on the ground, covered in cold sweat. At tea that moment, I arrived at the spot where the car was parked with Lily. She said, "Kevin, thank you just now. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't know how to get rid of him." I smiled faintly, then pointed to the car. Let's get in. I'm here to pick you up for your mother. Hearing this, Lily looked surprised. She looked me up and down and said, You actually work at my mom's company. I smiled slightly, not answering. After Lily got into the car, she leaned back in her seat and turned to me. For some reason, this time she saw me. She felt I was different from before, though she couldn't quite put her finger on it. It was like I was more handsome and charismatic now. Remembering back to our university days, I was the only one who could make her feel that way. But she didn't expect that even after graduation, seeing me again could still make her heart flutter. Lily looked away and whispered, Kevin, do you ever regret the choices you made back then? I thought about it. If I were to say I regretted it, I didn't really have any regrets. After all, that incident made me see how much of a gap there was between us. Seeing me not responding, Lily continued, If you hadn't done that back then, maybe you'd be my mom's son-in-law by now. But instead of being a son-in-law, you've become a driver. I didn't answer her words, unsure of what expression Lily would have if she knew my identity. Lily continued, I'm still curious why you didn't trust me back then. Am I really not worth your trust? I kept my eyes on the road, thinking for a long time, but still didn't say anything. Lily whispered, Forget it. You're still the same as before, unwilling to talk about anything. After driving for a while, Lily suddenly said, I haven't seen my mom drive this car before. Is it new? I replied, You'll find out when we get home. There are a lot of new things at home. After saying this, I added in my mind, Even your dad is new. The car sped along, and soon we arrived at the villa. Lily looked surprised. Is my mom living here? Kevin, where are you taking me? I replied, Didn't your mom move? This is it. At that moment, the security guard at the gate saw me and immediately bowed respectfully, greeting me. Mr. Kevin is back. Lily smiled at me, feeling proud to have my mom's power behind you, aren't you? I didn't say anything, just focused on driving. Soon, we arrived at the villa where her mom and I lived. Lily looked puzzled, walked up to the door, and was about to ring the doorbell. I went straight to the door and used facial recognition to unlock it, then turned to Lily. My princess, please come in. Watching my actions, Lily felt a sense of unease in her heart. She stared at me blankly for a long time without moving. I didn't say anything. This was something she should have known a long time ago. After a while, Lily's face lit up with a smile again. Then she walked into the villa, saying, Mom, I'm back? Julie, who heard the voice, walked out of the room. When she saw Lily, a joyful smile appeared on her face. Lily directly threw herself into Julie's arms, saying, Mom, I missed you so much. Then she smiled and asked, By the way, Mom, where's the dad you found for me? Even though she seemed to have an answer in her heart, Lily still wanted to find another answer. Julie was momentarily stunned. Then her gaze shifted to me not far away. I stood with my hands in my pockets, having imagined countless times scenes like this happening. Now that it was really happening, I felt surprisingly calm. Noticing Julie's gaze, Lily stiffly turned her head in my direction and said, Mom, stop kidding. I want to see where Dad is. Kevin, didn't you say you're my mom's driver? It's impossible. This can't be true. You're both lying to me, you jerk. Get out of my house. I stood still, not moving, just quietly watching the hysterical Lily. Lily grabbed a nearby glass and threw it at me. I quickly dodged, thinking to myself that if I hadn't been agile, I would have been done for tea this point. Julie was also alarmed and scolded loudly, Lily, calm down. This snapped Lily out of her anger. She turned to Julie, disbelief in her eyes. Tears streaming down her face, Lily cried out, This can't be true. You're all lying to me. Then she turned and ran out of the house. Seeing Lily like this, Julie frowned and said, What's wrong with Lily? Julie had anticipated that this would be hard for Lily to accept, but she hadn't expected her reaction to be so extreme. I walked up to Julie, giving her a gentle hug, and said, Don't worry, dear. Leave it to me. Then I turned and went to chase after Lily. Julie stood there sighing. It seemed like this was something only Kevin could handle. When would Lily truly accept Kevin as her father? Instead of going back to school, Lily stayed at a hotel. It was one of Julie's properties, so Lily didn't have to pay to stay there. As Lily sat on the bed, she grew angrier the more she thought about it. That jerk Kevin. I actually thought he had changed for the better, but he treated me like this. He makes me so angry. Her anger grew, and without realizing it, she fell asleep. When Lily woke up, it was pitch black around her. A sense of loneliness spread over her. She looked at the time. It was already 9 p.m. Normally, she would be chatting with her mom about what had happened during this time. It's all Kevin's fault, that jerk. Just thinking about him makes me so angry. Then she got up and left the hotel. Lily walked aimlessly on the streets, feeling completely drained. Suddenly, she saw a bar. Thinking about what had happened today, she decided to go in and drown her sorrows in alcohol. However, being as attractive as Lily was, as soon as she entered the bar, she immediately attracted the attention of a group of unscrupulous men. Almost the entire bar was eyeing her. Lily just ordered a few drinks casually. The lecherous men around her didn't make any moves, waiting for Lily to drink too much. Lily drank one glass after another, all the while cursing me. I wonder what he really feels about me now. After finishing her curses, she downed another big glass of liquor. However, the alcohol's effect immediately hit her brain, and she felt dizzy and disoriented. The lecherous men in the bar immediately became excited, discussing, "We're so lucky to meet such a beautiful girl today. What a catch." Lily, already blurry-minded, muttered to herself, "Can't drink anymore. Gotta go back." However, just as she tried to stand up, she lost her balance. Seeing this, the lecherous men around her smirked, ready to make a move. But I, who had been following Lily all along, was already in the bar. Seeing this, I quickly stepped forward to support Lily, sighing, "You're so unsettling." Facing the sudden appearance of me, the lecherous men around were displeased. "Hey kid, where did you come from? We've been waiting for the girl for so long. Isn't it inappropriate for you to do this?" Immediately, one of them walked up to me and grabbed my clothes. I glanced at him indifferently, then grabbed his wrist and pushed him away. The next moment, he screamed as he flew backward. I surveyed the bar patrons with sharp eyes and then took Lily away. The men behind me were still stunned, their expressions full of fear. I brought Lily back to the hotel we had just left. "You better get some sleep," I said. Before I could finish my sentence, Lily vomited all over herself. Feeling helpless, I sighed. "You're a princess, and I'm actually nothing." I sighed again and began to clean up Lily's mess. As I looked at the vomit on her clothes, I felt conflicted. I picked up my phone and told Julie about the situation. With Julie's permission, I hung up the phone and approached Lily to help her undress. It was summer, so Lily only had one layer of clothing left. As I looked at her fair skin, I couldn't help but swallow hard. For a moment, I felt a confusing impulse to teach her about sex love. But soon, I regained my senses and suppressed that evil urge. The next morning, I was awakened by a scream. Lily was yelling, "You pervert! What did you do to me? You deceived my mom, and now you want me to? I'm calling the police." She then threw a pillow at me. This snapped me out of my daze. Lily was wrapped in a blanket, tears in her eyes as she glared at me. "Kevin, so you're this kind of pervert. I misjudged you. I'll let my mom know what kind of person you really are." I couldn't help but speak up. "Shut up and listen to me. You got drunk at the bar last night. If I hadn't brought you back, who knows how many men would have been around you when you woke up this morning. And I didn't touch you. Your clothes are gone because you vomited all over yourself, and I washed them. From now on, if you want to drink, buy alcohol and drink it at home." Lily stood there, stunned. Somehow, deep down, she knew I wouldn't harm her. I sighed and said, "I'll go get you breakfast. Get dressed." As I left, Lily watched me, her heart in turmoil. After a while, I returned with breakfast. "It's all your favorites," I said. Lily was surprised that I still remembered her preferences. She hesitated and said, "Don't think that just because you're being nice to me, I'll forgive you." They started to eat breakfast together. After dinner, I walked up to Lily and said, "You know when your mom and I first met?" Lily gave me a glare and said, "You jerk, isn't it just to get back at me?" I continued, "It was 10 years ago when I met your mom. I was 14 then, and she was 26. Hearing this, Lily's mouth dropped open in surprise. I went on, "Remember when I told you before? I always had someone in my heart. Back then, I thought you were great, but you weren't what I was looking for. When I saw Julie again, that's when I truly found what I was searching for." Lily listened silently, feeling the sincerity in my words, but for her, it was still a hard truth to accept. I told her, "Let's head home. Your mom's waiting for you there." And then I got up and left the room. Leaving Lily alone to contemplate, she soon emerged from the hotel, and we both returned home together, home. Julie had just finished cooking breakfast, waiting for us to return. Seeing the burnt offerings on the table, Lily and I froze, then simultaneously said, "We already ate out." Julie shook her head regretfully. "You already ate? What a waste." Then Julie grabbed her bag, getting ready for work, and I quickly followed her to the office. Lily sat down on the couch, feeling exhausted from the hangover. Her phone rang. It was her good friend Nikki. Excitedly, Nikki asked, "How's it going? How's your dad?" Lily replied, "Good looking, fit, and treats my mom well. He's a graduate from a prestigious university." Hearing Lily's words, Nikki cheered, "Wow, sounds like you're pretty satisfied." Lily's face turned bitter. "I'm not satisfied. I feel awful." Perplexed, Nikki asked, "Are you worried he'll have another child and compete for the inheritance?" Lily sighed, "If only it were that simple, I wouldn't feel this bad." Nikki pressed, "What's really going on? Tell me." Lily explained, "You know this person. We've both met him. It's Kevin." Nikki let out a shocked scream. "What? Why Kevin?" Lily briefly recounted what had happened. Nikki, now knowing the whole story, exclaimed, "I was already feeling a bit sorry for you two breaking up, but now, not long after, he's become your dad? That's just unbelievable. It's like something out of a Sunshine novel, where lovers end up as father and daughter. It's too dramatic." Lily sighed, "Don't even bother me. My head's about to explode. Kevin talked to me a lot this morning, and now I don't know what to do." Nikki asked, "So, do you actually want Kevin to be your dad?" Lily replied firmly, "Of course not." Nikki's face lit up mischievously. "Well, if that's the case, there's another way." They had a secretive conversation, leaving Lily stunned. "Really? Are you sure?" Nikki nodded. "Since Kevin fooled your mom, can't we do something sneaky too?" Lily's face hardened with determination. Then Nikki teased, "Lily, didn't you say Kevin got handsome? You didn't fall for him, did you?" Blushing, Lily abruptly hung up the phone. Later that night, Julie was in the bedroom, applying a face mask and watching TV. Lily approached Julie's bed and said coyly, "Mom, can I sleep with you tonight?" Julie gently rubbed Lily's head. "Sure, we can sleep together." Blushing, Lily asked, "Where will Kevin sleep?" Julie thought for a moment and pointed to the carpet. "Let's make him sleep on the floor tonight." Lily's face turned even redder. Thinking about her plan, I yawned as I entered the room and ushered Lily out. Lily retorted, "This is my house, my mom's room. I'll sleep wherever I want." Facing Lily's challenge, I said, "This is my wife, and I'm sleeping on this bed. No one can kick me out." Lily huffed, "Well, you can't kick me out either," and then lay down next to her mom. I didn't back down either, lying down on the other side of my wife, thinking, thankfully, this bed's big enough for three. Julie, resigned, lay between us. I then cheekily kissed my wife in front of Lily. When I went for a big smooch, Lily was shocked and tried to hit me, but her mom pushed her away, saying, "I've raised you all by myself. Can't I enjoy some man's company now?" She then resumed kissing me. With a smirk, I told Lily, "Don't worry, your turn's coming up. Besides, you two aren't biologically related, so there's no moral dilemma here." Welcome to subscribe to Sunshine Talk Anime for more exciting stories.